afternoon, race fans, and happy holidays. Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we get set to kick off yet another round of racing action here in the Trans Am Stock Challenge. This time we swing down under to Bathurst over in New South Wales, Australia, to the Mount Panorama circuit. This track has long been famed for its incredibly difficult nature, as well as the Bathurst 1000 and the 12 hours of Bathurst, and it is bound to be one fun race for us here tonight. Over 20 corners getting set to kick us off at one of the most famous and hardest racetracks in the world. 31 laps will make up tonight's race as we get set to round to the first third of our Trans Am Stock Challenge season, as well as what will end up being our first double points race as well throughout the season. So 2 times the amount of points being scored for drivers here tonight, which means these guys are going to have to do whatever they can to try to see if they can get themselves fully locked in by the time we get ourselves down and ready for race time at the checkered flag here tonight. Championship standings coming on over into tonight will be looking like this. Over in CPN, Stephen Colon leads the way by 7 points over a tie for second with Mitchell O'Brien and Noah Miles. Michael Austin is 12 points up from the likes of Christian Brackett and SLM, and in LLM, Dylan Neverhimian, after taking 3 wins in a row to kick off the season, is 20 points clear of a 2-way tie for second place with Roberto Crown Jr. and Harold Donovan. So that is your championship standings for the likes of things coming on over into tonight, but you've got a lot of factors to play for you tonight. We'll get to all of that in just a moment, but for now, we will run you down what your starting grid's going to be looking like as we get set to go racing for 31 laps from Bathurst Mount Panorama here tonight. Starting up on the pole for CPN, going to be the likes of Nathan Orman with Daniel Voiles beside him on the front row. Oh, Miles is back in third with Stephen Colon in fourth. Mitchell O'Brien is fifth. Colin Cropley is sixth. Brittany White and Eric Monaco will be rounding out your your CPN field. In SLM, it is Michael Austin with Chris Harvey down in second. Christian Bracken and Case Ball's going to be back in third and fourth. Will Parrish, Matt Jones, Oliver Marks, and Trey Smith will be bringing up the rear here in your SLM field. In LLM, Harold Donovan finds himself up on pole. Dylan Neverhimian for the first time all season long finds himself over a second off of the pole time, down to the second position with Patrick Smith in third, Roberto Crown Jr. in fourth, Smith Oskin is fifth with Connor Monaco, Joshua Johnson, and Logan Alexander rounding out a 24-car total field and an 8-car LLM field then here tonight. You got all your drivers already gridded on up and ready to rumble as we get set to go racing then for what will be a very solid run of action then here tonight. And I tell you what, it's going to be a fun race for all these drivers tonight as we start to roll our way down towards the start-finish straight. And what a night it is to go racing. Cannot wait to see what this race here in Australia will be having for us then here tonight. Pace car going to lead the field of 24 cars strong with 3 classes. You're here for the GT cars, don't you worry. You'll be getting the 39-lap race with those later on tonight as we'll go race for the for the Trans Am Cup later on in tonight's race. But now though, through Murray's Corner for the final time, it's time to get this party underway. Green flag is out from Bathurst.
Green flag, green flag, green flag. Radio check.
our way up over the top of the hill. Nathan Orman still leads the way in CPN as we throw our way through Selman to McPhillips Park, making the run down towards Skyline. Owen Miles has already made a one position on Daniel Voiles from the outside. That move was made up into Corey Bend and down now through the S's and into the Dipper. This is where it gets tight. This is where one car getting sideways can easily clog up an entire racetrack. But so far, it's been a very clean start so far throughout the field. A little awkward for Miles that time by, down through the Dipper and into Fort Selbo, but still smooth sailing for all drivers so far in this field. Nathan Norman has taken off, and he is now a quarter second clear from Owen Miles. He's going to try to run him down all the way down the common straight into the chase. And overall, no moves for position being made as we move our way out of the chase and in towards Murray's Corner once again. And it'll be a very solid run for all these guys as Nathan Orman will be leading the first lap back to green overall. Meanwhile, Michael Lawson, you see him in the 118 back here. He's going to lead the way in SLM as we get set to cross the start-finish line for the first time all night long. And way back in the field, Harold Donovan leads the way so far in your LLM field. Already a good chunk of the way off of your race leaders in comparison to all the other drivers so far down throughout the grid elsewhere. So Nathan Orman is clear for the race lead with Owen Miles down in that second position, and they'll continue to run their way up about this straight into Corey Bend. And I think this single file race is what we can expect to see from your Trans Am Stock Challenge for a good portion of this race. It's just so hard to make passes here under normal conditions, let alone in big, bulky stock cars such as these. Maybe your SLM field will have a bit of an easier time, but even they seem to be splitting apart a fair bit now as they try to close up with the likes of Michael Lawson, who's clear by 3 seconds over the rest of your SLM field. Board with Owen Miles down through Forest Elbow and out down the Conrad Straight. We'll be able to see just how much he's able to close on up to the tail end of Nathan Orman, who is now broken away by a good, about another tenth of a second or so. And is that just me, or there is a little bit of right front damage there, left front damage, excuse me, on the likes of Owen Miles' number 88 car. Brittany White going to get up and by Michael Lawson. That was for an overall track position as we throw our way down into the chase. That was the spot made up for about that 7th position. And we'll get a look here as Brittany White just steamroll by him down in towards the sharp left-hand kink, where these cars are already going to be on the brakes, just using the overall top-end speed of those CPN cars on her way up the field. Orman taking the defensive line into Hell Corner. Napa Auto Parts number 24, Chevrolet, going to stay out in front for just that little bit longer. Currently holding the fastest lap of the race out of anybody so far today. Checking back in on your SLM field, you see a good chunk of them already split apart. One with the opens really been battling each other for a lot of positions further down the order here. And maybe these two guys who look like Cruze and Casey Wells, they're looking a bit tight. They want to battle it out. Or the lead is going to go up the second position down into Corey Bend and up through the cutting and into Griffin's Mount. Just a few moments here as we start lap number 3 of the 31. With this being a double points race, the races are actually a good bit longer. The Trans Am Stock Challenge races are usually 90 miles long, but for these double points races, they've been extended to 120 miles in length. Trans Am Cup races have been extended to 120 miles put on each of the races we've got for us here tonight. So it's going to be a long event for these drivers, and they have got a long way ahead of them. They want to get themselves sorted to the point where this could be a 2-stop race for these drivers. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it all the way around on just a single stop around that halfway point. If they make it to halfway, yeah, fair enough, go on the 1-stop, but it's going to depend on how this race pans out, especially with the likes of Full Course Yellow's always able to throw some wrenches into the mix of things. Let's check back in for LLM field for a little bit. bit as they're still tight with each other. This is Patrick Smith, still never hit and battling it out for the second position. Meanwhile, Harold Donovan broken clear by a good 5 seconds over the rest of the field. There is Donovan going down through Skyline and into the assist. The rest of his Corey right behind him. Looks like the likes of Patrick Smith couldn't be holding up in these fields. Even 206 tries to keep the likes of Roberto Crown Jr. and more at bay behind him. Logan Alexander dropping off a fair bit from the rest of the pack along with Joshua Johnson. So a couple drivers losing touch here early on as they'll now throw their way down the Conrad straight for the 4th time today. It's going to be an endurance race today for a lot of these drivers. It's going to be a race of patience, of waiting for your opponents to make mistakes. You can't afford to make these sorts of moves by yourself. Brittany White's number 42 car, meanwhile, has gone a good fastest lap, 9.57. Eric Monaco trying to get by Michael Austin. See if he can't close on the Amsoil Mustang to fight with the rest of his CPN class, but Austin holding firm on his ground. Your CPN field still remains tightly bunched together. Nathan Orman leading the way and controlling this pace at the sharp end of the field. I think Orman might be a little bit of fuel saving. Backing off his middle portion, knows that you're not really able to pass these cars. You can already see them bobbling their way up over the hill. That was out through Summer Park. They're making the run down to McPhillamy now. Saw a couple of cars have some pretty big moments over in the Bathurst 12 hours ago in that second track. It's one of the most treacherous places to go off course. End up in the wall if you do so. And we've still got no change in position further down the order. So overall position out on the racetrack. And the only driver that's been able to stick close to the rest of the only field to be able to stick close to their leader has been your CPN class, but your LLM and SLM fields both breaking well and truly clear of their primary point men. As Eric Monaco will successfully get by Michael Austin and run down the Conrad straight and down into the chase. They make a pretty easy pass of that one, so they got around to that Conrad straight, and now that 20 car can reel in the rest of these guys up in front and battle that with the others for the CPN class lead. Again, Orman going defensive in the run down the hill corner. Don't think he has to worry about that though. I don't think Owen Miles would have been close enough to have a move regardless. Stop him from trying though and just making that extra little bit more to go on the defensive. Checking in on one of your SLM battles for position. This is for 13th place overall and 5th place in your SLM category. This is Matt Jones, Will Parrish, and Oliver Marks separated by only about 7/10 of a second overall. They're just trying to keep it tight with everybody else down there in their class at the sharp end of the field. We're trying to find out for themselves. They're finding out for some of the last position, points made positions on the board. It's in your SLM class, so they'll gradually just work their way around, and we'll see where things will lead for them as they'll run their way back up into the mountains and get back down the hill. And even your LLM field, things are still looking a bit tight. This is for 2nd place. Over a minute back from the CPN class leaders. Himian has not had a very characteristic start. He's one to run away with this thing, but not so much as he goes up to Patrick Smith, the second in your LLM field so far. We're around just a little ways back from him. And Norman. Time back there to 0 miles down the Conrad straight, but still hangs firm down towards the chase. Let's take a look back momentarily. initial start for this race, and we'll kind of get you another view on how all the classes panned out, especially the ones further down in the order here. You see your CPN class kind of got away pretty smooth here with no, or with minimal difficulties with themselves, but it was a bit further in the back here when you had drivers jockeying for position all the way down the straightaway, and even a bit of contact in the background there from the likes of Joshua Johnson and Logan Alexander. They then were in several drag races all the way back up the hill in towards the Quarry Bend here, and it was really not until about turn 4 when they got themselves all single filed out down throughout your field. You see some of the CPN guys still fighting it out up ahead. There you saw Michael Austin get his way by a couple of CPN drivers, and already you can already see the difference here as your LLM field just drop back like a bunch of stones in comparison on overall pace. Brittany White again the fastest lap. We have had some movers and shakers here, and it looks like there's going to be a bit to look at here in just a few moments. We'll wait for the battles to get themselves sorted on now, but we've had quite a few positions here. We'll take a look at all this in turn. Daniel Boyles, the dive bomb up the inside of Owen Miles into the Quarry Bend. That saw Owen Miles start to just be freight trained down and lose self-positions. Owen Miles dropped back and lost his spot to Stephen Cologne, but Cologne ended up being put in the wall into the cutting. That allowed Mitchell O'Brien to sneak up the inside of the Bud Light number 4. Side by side up to Griffin's Mountain and Green Park, though. Difficult challenge. O'Brien dropped back. Came under fire by Colin Croppley. Croppley worked his way through and starts to single file out for now. Brittany White at the number 42 car again. Fast lap 209.56. Not able to make any sort of moves to get up some positions while this was going on, but got some drivers started to make moves in your CPN field. Not everybody content to just sit around and ride this thing out, and I think sooner or later somebody's going to get fed up with Dave Norman leading this thing, especially if he keeps holding them up like he is, and they'll work to try to find their way through. We rarely see your CPN field this condensed together. Should be a happening if Daniel Boyles decides to really go on the offensive and go hard at the Napa Auto Parts number 24 Chevrolet. McPhillamy Park and down the hill in towards Skyline. Your CPN field still the tightest group bunch of cars in your entire field thus far. In SLN, we've got Case Wells and Bracken, as well as this three-way fight between Will Parrish, Matt Jones, and Oliver Marks. It's all still picking on up. Then back here, you've got Jonathan Abrahamian and Patrick Smith just crossing the pit straight here, and right behind them, as well as that. Smet Oskin right behind, trying to close up Connor Monaco as well to pick up a spot. So you've got still a good number of battles, but not a whole lot of them able to actually make any sorts of moves. Daniel Boyles thought about a poke inside of Nathan Orman that time by into the chase, but thought better of that one. Decided to back out and try to have a look at a match up in the Quarry, but he would need a good run through Hell Corner first. The real question now is when are these guys going to make their trips down to pit road? Because again, you can't stay out here forever. We're not even sure if you'll be able to make it fully around to the end of this race. Starting lap 8 of 31 in your Trans Am Stock Challenge event. When you look over at the big point spreads you got throughout your field so far, that's still a bit of a story. Stephen Cologne has been the driver to beat so far. Today, back in the positions, he is on track to lose a good number of positions. Drivers, Nathan Orman. Orman, in the meantime, only has 2 points to his name so far all season long, but he's led every lap so far. here at Mount Bathurst Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst, Australia, South Wales. Gloucester, talked about it before, 12 points clear of the bracket. Casey Wells, no driver with no points scored in your SLM field. Casey Wells running the comfortable 4th place in his class. It looks like that might be changing today. Again, the biggest name so far in the Trans Am Championship as a whole, Dylan Ebrahimian winning the first 3 races in your LLM category back to back to back. He sits with a comfortable 30 points and a 20-point lead over Roberto Brown Jr. and Harold Donovan as your field continues to work their way down the hill here and start getting the Purcell sorted in your Trans Am Stock Challenge field. We'll get into all the Trans Am Cup standards, everything like that. When you get around that race later on this afternoon. As you can hear, though, LLM traffic starting to be caught by your race leaders with Logan and Alexander, who's kind of just hanging around on the rear, and you'll just be able to see there are your leaders starting to close on up. So Nathan Norman has got the first bout of LLM traffic in his size. Now this is something I've kind of avoided addressing, an elephant in the room, and so to speak, with this one as he continues to try to fend off Daniel Boyle from behind. Lap traffic is going to be nasty to handle here. It's already hard enough to pass, let alone try to lap somebody while trying to be on offense as well for a position. So these guys have to really put their heart and soul into their defensive game here if they want to try to get themselves a solid run and catch up to all this lap traffic, as again, Boyle staying nice and tight with Nathan Norman's number 24 car almost a third of the way deep. A nice Trans Am Stock Challenge event. Him on the Conrad straight. I think they might be for a bit of an easier time trying to pass him down through the S's and the Dipper. Took a bit of an ass though. They're going to catch him right at Forrest's elbow, it looks like. So couldn't catch him at a better point. Now they'll be able to breeze by him on the Conrad straight. Norman's going to look to the right, think better of it, but now right, look to the left first. Now they're all going to work their way around the right-hand side of Logan Alexander. That right there is the best possible point to have caught lap traffic on. I think that bit of lapping would make nobody in this room be very confident on making moves and positions down into the chase. Tabs on some of the battles further down the order. This is Will Parrish and Matt Jones. Talked about it a little bit before, but never in too much detail just yet. Will Parrish is trying to get to Matt Jones for a 13th position overall, 5th place in class. Seven points separate them on the championship order. Will Parrish has got 6 points. Jones 13 coming into the race tonight. And behind them, got Oliver Marks ultimate 6 points and a tie with Parrish at the moment in your SLM standings. This is the only battle in SLM, though. You've got this one way further up the road. This is Christian Bracken and Casey Wells. They're fighting for 3rd place. Final step of the podium in your SLM field. Monster Energy 101 is losing the time back to the Mustang back. Volvo 102 by Casey Wells. It's again a problem of you just can't catch up to enough draft to be able to reasonably work your way through. And meanwhile, your CBM field is caught up to get more LLM traffic, and all this again in a very bad opportunity down into the S's. Oh, and there we go. Daniel Voiles caught behind the 227. That's going to allow Owen Miles to sweep through and pick up the second position in CBN as they work their way by the fight there for the second spot in LLM traffic. So Voiles all of a sudden lost a good number of positions as the whole field bobbles their way down through the chase. Now it's just a two-car fight for the race lead up here between Nathan Norman and Owen Miles. They'll start 11 laps and tick away 21 laps to go. Look back to your LLM traffic, some of their fights for a moment. Smet Oscar and Connor Monaco have got themselves in a little scrap position in your LLM category. One more CPN car they're going to have to let through for too long here. That would be Eric Monaco. Has been able to close on up to your fight for second and first throughout this last lap and a half or so, and he's been able to drag the rest of the CBN gang up with him as we work our way down the mountain through the dipper and into Forest's Elbow. First run of pit stops cannot be too far off. Predicting drivers who first be coming on down around lap 13, 14, give or take. They would come in typically in an additional 90-mile race. Again, 100-mile addition should be enough to correct this stop. We'll have to wait and see how these guys can handle that when we get around to it. There is Eric Monaco losing a lot of time, caught in all of this LLM traffic way in the background. Might be a move here as well. Whoa, big defensive block down the straightaway. Patrick Smith shutting the door until Ibrahimian. Ibrahimian, though, gonna go around the outside hill corner and try to power through on corner exit, and that's gonna be a bit of a run now up the hill. That's allowed the 215 of Roberto Crown Jr. to start to close the gap. So fight is on for the second position here. Third position, excuse me. No, this is the second position. My bad. And there it is. Roberto Crown Jr. up the inside of Dylan Ibrahimian, and he is through. Good move there for Roberto Crown Jr. Saw Ibrahimian make that mistake and took the opportunity by lunging up the inside into Quarry. Solid effort there from the number 19 car. We'll check back in with the biggest SLM battle for now. Bracken and Casey Wells. Separated by about a half second at the moment as they run their way up through the hill. You can see everybody so far in comparison to one another on the racetrack. You can kind of tell exactly where your CBN field is. time they work their way down through the chase here, and I imagine this pack is only going to get broken up once Nathan Norman comes down to pit road. I mean, exclusively Nathan Norman, because everybody else so far has been keep pacing pretty well, but not surprised if Norman lost the lead in the pit cycle and eventually lost it overall to a win. Norman has just not had a lot of pace all season long, so it's not like Norman to be running through the front. No offense to Norman, but it just hasn't been his character all season long so far. Oh, Miles, though, 14 points in the tie for second place. Wants to lead the stakes and try to walk away out of here with the points lead. Daniel Boyles, though, trying to prevent that from happening. The Aflac side. That number 88 car, but again, nothing doing. It's not like Bathurst is not using stock cars race here, but typically the V8 supercars. Not vibrant stock cars like these. We'll be seeing what some of the V8 supercars can do around here out to play in your sport category in the Trans Am Cup. Following the conclusion of the stock challenge race for their double points to kick off. This afternoon proceedings starting to catch up to Trey Smith. Be the first driver in your SLN field that they will have to catch. And potential move. Oliver Marks trying to go on the advance. He's trying to look up the inside of Will Parrish, but again, no dice. Toyota Camry Super late model after the wait a bit longer. Should have been harder on the brakes. Wanted to really commit to a move like that, and here goes Daniel Voiles trying to make a move. No dice. Same with Owen Miles trying to make a run on the moment. So again, guys starting to get a bit more antsy. That is because they did just catch up and overtake Trey Smith on the Conrad straightaway and through the chase. What we saw up at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, pleasantly surprised how clean of a race we have had so far here today. No major incidents to speak of, not really any contact. Say that one was probably the initial start, but we haven't had any spins. It's been one of the coolest races we've had so far all season, which is not much. Oh, as I say that, Norman puts himself into the fence, and you can tell that is going to hurt him big time. A lot of right side damage now on the number 24 Napa Auto Parts machine, and Owen Miles gets the blood in the water as a result of that mistake. Been the move for Jason Wells, getting by Christian Bracken for third place in SLM. It's a drag race up the mountain straight towards the quarry bend, and they're catching up to Logan Alexander. And that will go to the hands of Casey Wells. 5 drivers a pick to secure that pass. We'll get a quick replay on how this one came about. It's a lunge around the outside for the 102s from Casey Wells. Established himself then on the exit of Murray's corner and made that run all the way down the long straightaway, and unfortunately nothing that could be done about it by the time they caught it to Logan Alexander. Nathan Ormond is into pit road for service, and I do not think it is a coincidence that this came about immediately following that collision with the wall in the cutting. Definitely related to this one, and will likely lose the lead and then some. We'll keep an eye on his pit delta here. We're looking for only about a 15-second-ish time. If all's good underneath that race car, we'll see if he stays in there long, though, to make any sort of extra service. Up to 10 seconds in the box. And it is going to be a long stop then for Nathan Orman. That hit to the wall may very well have done him in. It's a hard ball to hit at Mount Panorama, and I think that is costing him clearly. I would expect to see us put down some fast laps now that these guys have broken of Nathan Orman. We'll keep close on when he leaves his pit box. So far he's been in there for 40 seconds and counting. That rivals the times that we see over the Trans Am Cup for GT1 and GT2 categories, which is not a good thing. He's now losing time to your SLM drivers as well, which should not be happening with the CPN car. 62.3 seconds in the box for Nathan Orman, and he finally is able to leave, and he's going to be right in the middle of those, some SLM and LLM traffic, so Orman's got a lot of time to make up. I don't think he's going to get himself that race win that is so elusive for him all season long today. Guys will be able to make it on a one-stop race because they're about at that halfway point now, and still nobody's going down pit road, so one-stopper it is then for tonight. Able to stretch that distance after all, so good thing that these drivers had those strategies in mind. I thought it might be a two-stopper. Wrong before, and looks like I was wrong again today. Will perish on screen at the moment as they scrap it out for 14th place overall. Got now two different group starters split apart here in your CPN category. You've got Colin Cropper leading one train in 4th place overall. Mitchell O'Brien and Brittany White sit behind him for the fight for 4th place. Then you got your battle for the lead. Owen Miles and Daniel Boyles, which has so far remained stagnant. Nobody's been really making any moves so far, coming or going. And Michael Austin with the first SLM driver to make his way down to pit road. See now if Chris Harvey will follow suit, and he will. So pit stop time for your SLM drivers, who now start to one by one filter their way to pit road. Orman is in again, so Nathan Orman back in for service. Not content with whatever repairs were done to that car. So a lot of drivers now down to pit road. It's about to get busy down here on the pit straight. Michael Lawson, first one in. We're expecting him to be the first one out as well. There goes Austin on his way out of the pit road, and everybody except for Trey Smith in so far in your SLM category. And one by one, SLM drivers starting to filter their way back out of pit road, and a lot of them have been lapped by CPN traffic that is yet to pit as well. There goes Matt Jones along with Will Parrish and Oliver Marks out of pit road. Once again, that leaves one Trey Smith, who's still a fair way off of your SLM leaders. He is not stopped yet, and he's not stopping now either. So Trey Smith has a ways to go. He's got to hope he can make it around. It's a long lap around Bathurst. The last thing you want to do is to run out of fuel when you're on your way up the mountain. It's a good way to get yourself a boatload little trouble. Getting any of that tonight. I really like this shot here. It kind of shows just how tight of a circuit it is down the hill. It cannot be understated or overstated, just how tight of a racetrack it is and how hairy it is to try to work your way down the hill. This is Crown, Smith, Ebrahimian. Still scrapping it out amongst themselves for positions as we bypass our halfway point. No word yet on when we're going to be seeing other drivers making their way down to pit road as well. Owen Miles, though, put under some heavy pressure. He was at least put under heavy pressure. Now they just have to try to work their way through a boatload of lap traffic in the background and cause a bit of a break in your fight for the top three positions. Casey Wells and Chris Harvey have closed in the gap for the second position. We'll say they're looking to try to see if they can't go and have a little bit of fun out here for that second position in your SLM category. That's the 144 and the 102 firing their way up the hill into Quarry Bend, and no move being made down to turn number 2, Mount Panorama circuit. Bit of no man's land. Dylan Ebrahimian making advantage of some of the faster traffic trying to get through. Don't look on the inside of Roberto Crown Jr. down to turn 1, try to make a dive bomb up in the hell corner, and Ebrahimian try to get through for the 19th position. Meanwhile, got your CVN leaders into pit road. Can Ebrahimian clear? He will, and Roberto Crown Jr. tuck in line, run towards Quarry Bend. So back down to pit road, and this time through the CVN category as Owen Miles will be the first of your lead lap drivers to make a scheduled pit stop on lap number 19. Expect your LLM drivers to not be too far off. At the moment, we've also got in Daniel Voiles, Mitchell Bryan, Colin Cropley, and Eric Monaco. Brady White, Stephen Colon both staying out. Owen Miles will be the first driver out of pit road, and comes everybody else in right behind him. Now the question is, when does Cologne come on down into pit lane? While this was going on, Samet Ozcan got by Connor Monaco for 21st place overall, for about 5th place in the LLM category. And in fact, they're embroiled in the battle as we speak as they try to make their way back around through the cut. Oh, wow, it is slow up here at the top end. And I think troubles for Chris Harvey, actually. And yeah, there's big trouble for the 144, who has had some catastrophic incident up at the top of the hill. We'll see if we can't try to piece together aware of what happened in the moment here, but Chris Harvey having a rough go of things. He's going to cut right across the S's and just stay kind of off lines. A bad place to be slow, though. I'm willing to bet he hits something big on the right-hand side. You can see the ball rumble in, and all of a sudden, Chris Harvey going to be down and out of the count for sure. In your SLM field, we'll back this up. Try to see if we can find where this went wrong for him. Rough time to try to find that, though. Do our best. Let's see what we can dig on. We'll start with the top of the lap. How do we start there? As good a place as any, as 144 going to be. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll look back to that in a second. You got your overall leaders back down to pit road, and this is going to be the race to see if Miles can get to the point. While Cologne and White are down in the pit road, along with Nathan Orman again. So Nathan Orman still having troubles and having to make another trip down to the pit road. And Owen Miles going to make a very easy run to make his way back up to the race lead with no. Well, actually, this might be close here. Nathan Orman on the exit. Nope, never mind. Owen Miles easily gets his way up there. So. Right, take two. We'll try to see if we can find out what happened to Chris Harvey. Top of the lap here. This is coming up the mountain straight in towards the Quarry Bend. Should be relatively straightforward. He's caught to some of the lap traffic. He does have Brittany White right behind him, so keep that in mind. Wonder if there was maybe contact. He had damage on both sides of the race car. Maybe he was trying to get around some of the SLM or the LLM traffic. Up into the cutting. Oh, Brittany White having a big moment of her own. Looks all settled for now. We're up to Griffin's Mount now, up to Reed Park. Oh, there's the contact, and yeah, hard into the wall. Up at Griffin's Mount at Reed Park, there was contact as Brittany White had tried to lap her way around Chris Harvey. That's what ended up happening there. See if we can try to go a bit further forward, and we'll try to get a better view of this one here. This will be the one right here. Missed it a bit late, so back it up again. All right, here we go. This will be the one. On board with Chris Harvey. You're going to watch Brittany White make the move up along his right-hand side here. Here she comes. There's the contact. There's the wall. And, yeah, that'll do it. Broke the car for sure. That's what sent Chris Harvey basically into the garage for the rest of the race tonight. So a really weird incident then, it would look like. You don't often see incidents like that develop, but that's how the cookie crumbles this time around. Chris Harvey down and out the fight. Luckily kept the car rolling, so no need for a full course yellow. White, Mitchell, Brian, Colin, Cropoli all on the screen. They're fighting now for 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Again, still trying to work your way past some SLM traffic right behind them. A lot of guys are now condensed in one section of the racetrack, and it's that run up towards the cutting. And you got your LLM traffic about to be swarmed by faster cars behind. This is Smith, Ebrahimian. Brown Jr. Talked about them many times before. They've been embroiled in a fight. They have yet to pit as well. And they're about to be caught by a lot of guys, the SLM guys, that are on fresh tires and have more fuel in the cars. So this is where it's going to get messy, to put it politely. Rocket down the hill. There's Joe Miles, race leader, just in the background. Close on in. Harold Donovan, the first of your LLM drivers, going to be down and into pit road, potentially sparking up the call. Now's the time. especially as a lot of your fast guys starting to catch up to the slowest drivers in the field. Not a good time to be out there when you have yet to pit. Would be about now. I would say now is a good time as any. Whoa, there is Dylan Ibrahimian. A huge move up into the chase. Patrick Smith didn't see it coming, and Dylan Ibrahimian will swing through into second place in your LLM field. And just like that, all three of them will hit pit road. Back that one up, play that one for me one more time, as that was a move and a half that Dylan Ibrahimian pulled on Patrick Smith. He was slow for the lap traffic, and he just said, yep, I'll just take this away from you. Coming on through. Outside this pass ball, Nathan Orban making the move on Matt Jones down the hill. That was Orban just trying to get around some SLM traffic, but all of your LLM drivers bar 2 are in, but they're slowly working their way in as well. And speaking of which, Chris Harvey, we talked about him before, he is now on his way out of pit road as well. You are the last of your limited late model drivers that are down to the lane, just waiting now to see if Alexander will follow suit. Expect that he will, and yes, he will. So all drivers going to be down and into pit road safely. And that will complete the pit stop cycle then here tonight, as still got all these battles to play for out on the racetrack. We've got less than 10 laps left to go with your Trans Am Stock Challenge from Bathurst Mount Panorama. Owen Miles leads the way in CBM. Michael Austin picks it up in SLM. Harold Donovan in LLM leads the way to round your classes here tonight. I'll take a brief step away and we'll let you listen to some of the sights and sounds in the Trans Am Stock Challenge for the Mount Panorama Circuit. Well, a lot of battles have shrunk throughout the course of this race. This one you got here in your LLM category for 18th place overall, and about third in class has only grown or has only shrunk in size. Matt Oscar, Roberto Brown Jr., Patrick Smith, all running nose to tail as they run their way down McPhillamy Park and in towards out of Summer Park down to McPhillamy, then it'll be Skyline afterwards. To close on in. Final laps now of this race. You saw a couple of drivers coming down for a second run of pit stops. Those were the trio that you're looking at right now, and we're not sure why they came down for a second run of pit stops. Same length they were in for the first time. So I'm willing to bet they forgot fuel to put in the cars or something of that nature. Case, they are out there now and trying to battle it out for some of the lesser points pay positions in your LLM category. And there's going to be the look. Patrick Smith, oh, he's going to get to the door. Roberto Crown Jr., Patrick Smith trying to make a move, and it went wrong as Roberto Crown Jr. slammed the door shut and kind of shoved him up onto the curb there to prevent Smith from being able to get through. Looks like the move will be here as Roberto Crown Jr. gets the runner on the outside of the hell corner. He's going to look to get to the inside of Matt Oskin and the run up the hill towards Quarry Bend. And he completed, or can Oskin hang it around the outside? No, he can't. Roberto Crown Jr. is through, and as is Patrick Smith. So both drivers up now in another position. And Noah Miles under fire for the race lead here. Here comes Daniel Voiles in the run towards Quarry. So got a few battles here starting to pick on up in the closing moments of this race. Including all the way up and down your CBN field as well. So a lot to play for a lot of drivers in this field. Yeah, before this race is over. Risky going around the outside and the run down Solman Park, but they're just able to make it work. Lapping around, believe that was Daniel Ebrahimian. Once again, closing on up. The run down to the hill. They've caught Logan Alexander. Miles stamping out that back end as he tries to get around him. Daniel Voiles will follow suit. Will we have a look into the chase? Looks like we will. Side by side for the race lead. Here we go. Daniel Voiles trying to make the move. Backs out in the last moment as we come down towards 5 laps to go. Voiles thought about it, he tried it, no room, had to tuck back in line and wait for another lap. It's always a brave move to try to initiate a pass from that far back into the chase, and it could have ended in absolute disaster for both these guys. Lucky that they were able to hang on to it. I don't think that right front damage on Noah Miles is helping matters. I think this kind of was hurting him. Now, Danny Woods get by before the cash lap traffic. We'll have to use lap traffic to try to get through. 5 laps left to go, about 4.5 now, as we run our way back over the top of Solman Park at the very tippy top of the circuit. It's been an intense 27.5 laps so far, but it's going to be an even more intense 39. Now coming next to the Trans Am Couple, we see GT1, GT2 Sport and Club classes for GTE cars all the way down. Brazilian stock cars out to play. I'll tell you what, Daniel Voyles has been doing a phenomenal job sticking up to the back end of Owen Miles throughout all of this lap traffic. I don't think he's going to have a move this time by the chase. There's too much guys up ahead, not near enough time to get by. Or, oh, he's going to try it. Pulling it alongside, under the Fuso Bridge, and he's through! Daniel Voyles is going to use the lap traffic to pick, and Daniel Voyles into the race lead around Owen Miles. They've caught Michael Austin, the SLM class leader, and they'll sweep by him with ease. Now Daniel Voyles is going to be through, and for the first time, we've had an on-track change for the race lead. Take a look on how this one happened again. Daniel Voyles saw an opportunity. Miles is forced to lift, and that was to allow him to just be able to get around the LLM traffic. It was a smart move on Owen Miles' part. It's likely what's allowed him to stay close here to Daniel Voyles as we run our way back up the hill with 4 to go. And meanwhile, Dylan Nehemian gets around Joshua Johnson. Further back in the field, we'll once again look on how this one was accomplished. Just got a good run out of Murray's corner and had it fully secure by the time they got down to hell. In fact, that's not the only pass being made. How about this one with Roberto Crown Jr. just took around the outside like a champion around Connor Monaco. A lot of fights starting to pick on up here. This was after your CBN guys got around, and Roberto Crown Jr. took the opportunity, and he went for it up through Griffin's Mound and into Reed Park. Good on Roberto Crown Jr. putting himself up to that second position, and now Chris Harvey starting to slowly work up some more ground as well. Could possibly go for a move here down over the crest of the hill in towards the chase. If Patrick Smith can get close enough, don't think he will though, and he won't. Connor Monaco stays out in front for just that little bit longer, while Daniel Voyles takes 3 to go, and now it's his turn to go on the defensive, just like Nathan Norman did for the first 15 or so laps of this race. Owen Miles hot on his heels, trying to close the gap and retake that race lead. Still has a chance to do it. He's been staying close. I think he's going to need some more lap traffic, though, to fall his way. But if you take a look at the track map, there is not going to be any more. I don't think until the end of this race. I think these guys are just going to be in a heads-up scrap right to the end now. I've got Michael Austin holding up some of your other CPN traffic deeper in the field. Brady White's going to have to look around the left-hand side. She's going to lose control and just hangs on to it, but loses 2 positions in the process. Carlo sweeps back to the outside, and it's going to get intense up the hill through Reed Park and into Solman, still side by side. Down the hill, Cropley and White. White hangs firm, but only just. How in the world did they not just lose control there? About as close of a call as you could possibly get there as we ran our way up and over the hill. We'll get a look at this one again. As holy cow, a save and a half from Brittany White sparked this fierce fight all the way up and over the rise. Thought they would wreck several times. There's always risk going side by side in the best conditions, let alone you've got slower lap traffic in the way. Made it work though. Mitchell O'Brien now finds himself up to 4th. White's dropped to 5th. Colin Cropley will stay in 6th, but an effort for the 22 car indeed. About 2.5 laps left to go as you've got still this fight in the LLM to wrap itself on up before this race concludes tonight. Patrick Smith, Connor Monaco, and Smet Oskin. All line and stern as we get set to roll our way back up the hill while Daniel Voiles is getting set to lead us around for final time in just a few moments. Still no lap traffic on the horizon for your race leader. I still don't think they're going to be getting any more throughout the remainder of this race, which is, I'm sure, exactly what they want to see, because it means they can just race it out amongst themselves at the end. But Daniel Voiles, clearly the better of the two, as Miles has dropped back to over a second on the disadvantage bar. If anybody were to catch them, it would probably be these some of these drivers right here, the likes of Christian Brackett, Casey Wells. You can see them still trying to sort out who will finish second place in your SLM category. That'll be a position to keep our eyes on throughout the remainder of this last lap and a half or so for these guys as well. Final lap in the air, Daniel Voiles sets the fastest lap of the race, a 2:08.69. The first driver to break into the 2:08s all race long. Voiles is flying with nobody even close to catching him for now. Of a second separate Brackett and Wells, but all eyes at the moment are on Daniel Voiles as he runs way over the top of the racetrack for the final time today and gets set to dive it back down the mountain out of McPhillips Park and run it up towards Skyline. Hard on the binders as we get set to run down the S's, the Dipper, and into Forest Elbow for the last time in your CBN Field of the Trans Am Stock Challenge in their 120-mile race. From the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst in New South Wales, Australia, Daniel Voiles had to hang around in second place for so long, made a bold move into the chase to get around Miles. Now just has to negotiate a few more corners. No lap traffic on the horizon. No reasons to worry. Out of the chase, in towards Murray Corner as he'll exit the Conrad Straight. The final bend, Murray's Corner on the horizon. Miles nowhere close. Daniel Voiles wins the race in CPM. As Daniel Voiles crosses the line in CPM, Michael Austin running his way down the Conrad Straight. Meanwhile, Harold Donovan has just started his final lap of the race. A few battles still yet to be determined, but for Michael Austin, he is not one of them. He's got over 45 seconds back to Christian Bracken in second, and he'll win in your SLM field. Here's your fight for second place in SLM. Still yet to be decided, and it's going to have to be a last-ditch daring attempt out of the Commerce Brand into the chase if Michael Austin wants to get, or Casey Wells wants to get around Christian Bracken. It's not going to happen, though. The 101 going to hang firm in the Monster Energy machine. Behind them, though, we got a fight as the 146. Matt Jones forced to back out against Will Parrish as they drag raced it down the stretch. Harold Donovan remained, I believe, one of the last drivers yet to finish the race tonight as he looks to get himself all sorted. Your LLM class leaders ran about the quietest race out of all of them. He had a minute and a half back to Roberto Crown Jr. He had worked his way up so far, and now Harold Donovan will be the first driver that is not Dylan Ebrahimian who will take a class win. Nobody else out on the track is capable of beating him as they've already crossed the start-finish line or have been lapped. Harold Donovan then will win in LLM. That just leaves Logan Alexander, the last driver out on the racetrack, to finish things out for us then here today. And what a drive it has been indeed. We'll get a rundown of your official post-race results then here from the Mount Panorama Circuit and Trans Am Stock Challenge. Danny Voiles, the race winner by 2 seconds over Owen Miles. Stephen Colon back in third around to the podium. Mitchell O'Brien will be in fourth with Brittany White in fifth. Colin Cropley, Eric Monaco, and Nathan Ormond will round out your 8-car CPN field. In SLM, Michael Austin is the race winner with Christian Bracken in second. Casey Wells in a third. You've got the likes here of Will Parrish in fourth. Matt Jones fifth. There, Oliver Marks, Trey Smith, and Chris Harvey will be rounding out the drivers further down the order. And to round out your field tonight in LLM, Harold Donovan takes a dominant race win over Roberto Crown Jr., Connor Monaco, Patrick Smith, Samantha Oskin, Dylan Ebrahimian, Joshua Johnson, and Logan Alexander round out the field. It's going to be a solid run for these guys in the future, and I tell you what, it'll be one heck of a race when they get set to go back to racing action. But don't go away just yet. You still got 39 more laps. The Trans Am Cup coming up in just a few moments. We'll see you all there in just a few.
Bitch, we run a trap like. Bitch, we run a trap like.
ready for more here for the Trans Am Cup from the Mount Panorama circuit. This time it's going to be a 39-lap race as we once again get set to roll things out here tonight. Should be a fun way to end things off here tonight as we will once again be rolling our way through yet another major circuit here on the Trans Am Championship. We'll take a look first at obviously what your championship standings look like going into today, and unlike the Stock Challenge, is significantly closer. In GT1, Mitchell O'Brien is up by only 4 points at the top of the boards compared to Colin Cropley. It's another 2 points back to a two-way tie for the third position between Trey Smith and Will Parrish. In GT2, Simon Bloomfield only up by 2, and it's another 4 back to the likes of Carter Joey, and Marcus Dawson sits between them in second place. Dennis Marshall is the biggest gap so far in the Trans Am Championship for the Trans Am Cup. He has a 9-point lead over Chris Harvey in your sport category, but it's only another point back to Mitchell Collins. Last but not least, the club category, Axel Benoit and Caleb Reynolds have traded heads once again, with Reynolds now up by 2. As we once again get set to go racing then for more action than here in tonight's race. So already we are almost ready to get things underway. So once again, it is just about high time to get things rolling here. So we will run you down through your starting grid in just a few moments as we get set to kick off these last 39 laps of racing action from the beautiful Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. On pole position for GT1, it is Will Parrish with Steven Colon beside him on the front row. Trey Smith is back in third with Eric Monaco in fourth. Owen Miles is fifth, with Colin Cropley in sixth. Mitchell O'Brien rounds out the 7-car field. It is a very mixed bag of cars deeper in the field with Simon Bloomfield in first place and Carter Joey back in second for your GT2 starting order, with Marcus Dawson back in third, but with a long ways to go back to the fourth place driver Joshua Johnson starts all the back in 13th place overall. From there, moving deeper into the field, you've got the likes of Christian Bracken in fourth, Patrick Smith will be fifth, Jose Mills sixth, and that will round your GT2 field. In sport, it is going to be obviously Dennis Marshall again on pole with Mitchell Collins in second place. Moving on down through the order, Sam Schluter is in third with Chris Harvey in fourth, Casey Wells fifth, and again, Dylan Ebrahimian and Sabet Oskin round out your sport category. And way at the back of the field, unsurprisingly, once more is your club guys. Connor Monaco is on pole with Declan White in second, Matt Jones, Caleb Reynolds, Axel Benoit, Veronica Ryan, and Quinn Riley will round out a 28-car Trans Am Cup field from Mount Panorama as we once again get set to go back racing and set things off on what should be a fun way to end out the racing then here tonight. And I am willing to bet we're going to be in for a really solid outing then here in this one. And I tell you what, I couldn't think of anything better to end things off than some good old GT multi-class racing at Mount Panorama. It's going to be intense, and I wonder how Mitchell O'Brien's going to fare. He is one of the fastest drivers in your GT1 field, but got held up big time in qualifying. Seeing him start all the way back there in the number 27 car. You saw him for a moment at the Goodwrench Chevrolet Corvette C8.R GTE. And we'll be getting set to go racing then here in just a few moments' time as just waiting for the last of these things to get themselves sorted before we get ourselves rolling off then for these last 39 laps. And I think it's time to hedge your bets. You think we're going to get a safety car period? If so, how many? Who's going to cause it? Most importantly, who's going to be on top by the time we get down to the end of these last 39 laps of racing action? Pace car is rolling with your GT1 leaders Will Parrish and Steven Colon in tow. They will enter the chase and out through Murray's corner to kick us off for another bout of racing action. Once again, thank you for choosing Green Flag TV as your source of entertainment tonight. We get set to round things out in the Trans Am Championship. Pace car is down and in. Will Parrish going to be on the loud pedal. We're underway for the last time in the Trans Am Championship tonight from Bathurst. the hill, down the hill. Still got drivers going side by side, deeper in the pack as we try to get ourselves sorted early in the Trans Am Cup race, and a lot of GT2 traffic being held up behind the sport guys, including Johnson, Mills, Brackett, Smith, and more. So it's not going to be a rough ride. These guys will not be able to use the Conrad straight to get a good drop on these guys, as the Supercars have got the upper hand down the straights. They're going to have to rely on some holding speed and some great maneuvers. Get by the sport guys to keep up with their class leaders, Simon Bloomfield and Carter Joey at the top end of the field. Will Parrish is already broken out by 1.3 seconds over Stephen Colon. And he's looking to stay there as he hightails it back down the hill in towards the chase out of the Conrad straight, and now will make the run towards Murray's Corner. Will Parrish will be leading the opening lap to green, and behind them, Simon Bloomfield about to be overtaken by Mitchell O'Brien, who's trying to find a way through to continue the battle with the rest of his guys. Bloomfield will lead the first lap to green in your GT2 field. Further behind, you see Dennis Marshall leading the first lap in the sport category, and there's Declan White to round things out in the club category way at the back. Brackett wants to look up the inside of Jose Mills. Thought about it going into the corner, but no dice. Meanwhile, battles on for the club category for the second position as the 330 of Axel Bedoya looks on the inside of Connor Monaco. Monaco could lose a few positions now. He just lost out to Matt Jones, and now Caleb Reynolds trying to find his way around that outside line. The Brazilian stock car is going to get pushed out close to the right side wall, up into the cutting, and the 340 going to close up as well. That's Quinn Riley trying to see if he can't close the gap deep in the field. They're going to single file themselves out as we once again hightail it back onto the straightaway, making up towards Solomon Park. Got him in time for a bump, but we're all smooth sailing for now. You got a lot of GT2 traffic again, trying to close the gap to some of your sport class runners, but for now, looks like things are going to stay as they are. It's a V8 Supercar circuit, and that's where they're going to ring strong. GT1 has Trey Smith and Eric Monaco. Furthest battle up the order, Ford versus Chevy to the inside, entering the chase down the Conrad straight, making the move for third. Trey Smith going to push up past Eric Monaco. Monaco battling back though, near contact in towards the chase. Behind them, Owen Miles going to lose a couple of positions to Colin Cropley and Mitchell O'Brien. Going to be on this side-by-side pass down to the chase, and it was a move and a half. Meanwhile, you've also got this fight that just took place a moment ago as well. This was for the 22nd position overall, and it was for the class lead in the club category. That was Matt Jones getting up and around Axel Benoit in the run to go for the overall, for the lead, excuse me, not overall, but in the club category. Mitchell O'Brien on the move as well. He's going to look to the inside of Colin Cropley, and Mitchell O'Brien going to move up another position. So O'Brien now breaks into the top 5, and good move for him as we're side by side through hell corner in your club category. Fights all the way up and down throughout the field. Nobody able to break away from one another. Samantha Hoskins side by side in sport as they run up through the Quarry Bend. Will just be able to hang on. We'll focus up on your club category. We've got a couple of passes. Caleb Reynolds and Declan White side by side in towards the Quarry Bend. Here comes Quinn Riley, going to make up another position while Connor Monaco gets by Axel Benoit for second. Not over yet, though. Still got side-by-side up through the cutting and in towards Griffin's Mount. The 340 of Riley hanging tough against Declan White. White's got the upper hand, though, with that move around the inside now the corner. Here comes Reynolds still trying to charge through, and they're still side-by-side down through Solomon Park and into McPhillamy Park now. And just there, finally Veronica Ryan breaks through. Will break up this neat and tidy train. Mitchell O'Brien picks another spot up. Getting around Eric Monaco. O'Brien is flying in his machine as he made this overtake down the Conrad straight, got the track going out of Forest Elbow, and it was over by the time they reached the kink into the chase. A very, very hectic start then to your Trans Am Cup race, and Mitchell O'Brien will pull it up here. Already up 6 positions when we started on the day. 4 of those within his own class in just as many laps. Caleb Reynolds getting by Quinn Riley down in the chase, making a last-ditch effort to launch one up the inside. Check back in your GT2 traffic deep in the field. Simon Bloomfield, Carter, Joey almost going side by side for the GT2 class lead. Guys starting to pick their way up and over the hill. It's a close fight. Eric Monaco and Colin Cropper look like they're about to get tight as well in GT1. So you got, like I said, a lot of fights all the way up and down throughout this grid. And it's only going to pick up as this race goes along. And again, oh, big trouble! A huge collision up at the cutting, and that's a big wreck. And the 330 car is junked, and safety car going to be deployed. Axel Benoit and Quinn Riley both involved in a big way as Will Parrish holds on to the race lead. That was a huge wreck, though, coming up through Griffin's Mount, I think that was. Man, what a lick and a half. So Will Parrish, the race leader, and will pick up the safety car here as he'll cross the start-finish line, but that is just destroyed your club battle that we had going. It was going so well for these guys in the back here as well, and well, that's essentially going to be a wrap on your club battle and our racing action for the time being, but obviously still have a lot of race left to go, and we will hopefully be able to get back underway before too long. Let's take a look on what happened to Axel Benoit. Really curiously, what the heck happened here? Oh, this was coming up through the quarry bend. Pushed too wide and just ran into the side, and that's what caused that heavy shunt into the barrier. We'll try to get another look at this one here. I believe it was the 393 of Declan White that caused this. No, it was the 369. So the 369 of Connor Monaco ran to the side of Axel Benoit. That sent Benoit wide and flying into the fence. Just, oh yeah, just wrong place, wrong time, nowhere to go for Declan White. Right on board with him. Up the hill. Well, oh yeah, what are you supposed to do in that situation? You're just a passenger, completely stuck. This will show it, just pushes too wide through a quarry, ding, wall, and it is mayhem from there. Good news is a lot of guys managed to get away from this unscathed. Should be able to get back up in fighting order before too long here. I'd imagine they're going to want to get this race underway pretty quickly with how long the pace laps here can be. So I'd imagine we're going to probably even go lights out this time by, considering it's been cleared away. Depending on if anybody wants to make the trip down a pit road. It's a long lap. You would have time to catch them, theoretically at least. For now, your GT1 field remains stagnant with 7 drivers, all of them now ahead of your GT2 guys. It's really a mixed bag though between GT2 and Sport guys. You can tell in the timing order. I think that's the big problem. And the straights are so long that it allows the Sport traffic to stay out in front of a lot of the GT2 guys like Marcus Dawson and Joshua Johnson. But those Ford GT GT2 cars, they are so fast in the high-speed bends, they can just stick with them. That's going to create some problems, I'd imagine, later on throughout the course of the race tonight. So up and over the rise, it is caution flag out then for the first time here at Bathurst today, and we will take a quick step back. We're back with more in just a few moments from the Trans Am Cup from Mount Bathurst Panorama. We'll see you soon.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Mount Bathurst Mount Panorama, where the safety car has been confirmed. We will be into pit road this time by Zola Rebel. I'm bringing you all the action here from start to finish tonight. We'll go green on lap number 7. Field working our way out and around. We did have a few drivers come down to pit road, but it was only 3, so the decision was made for us to go green. This time by. These are the 3 drivers that came down to pit road. Veronica Ryan, Quinn Riley, and Caleb Reynolds. All having small dings. I imagine they wanted to get looked at just due to that collision in the safety car period, but they'll easily be able to catch on up as we're just going over the top of Solman Park and heading our way down to McPhillamy Park now. A strong run for us then later on in this race. Axel Benoit has been towed back to pit road. Should be able to get underway here without losing too much time, so that's the good news. We'll be able to get this race going quickly, but now the question is, will we have more later on throughout this race? Boy, it would be something if this race turned out to be a caution fest like the International Formula 4 Championship had at Motor Center Rootspoken a little while ago, where we had, I believe it was about 4 safety car periods in just the span of a 32-lap race there, including one that ended with a really short dash at the finish with only about 2 laps, I believe. Time we see the Trans Am Cup and Stock Challenge out, the Trans Am Championship. Next time we see the circus out, we'll say, as a whole. Taking a look at the notes here, it's going to be for a regular points race over at the WeatherTech Raceway. It's at Laguna Seca. That's going to be interesting to say the least. It's another track not friendly with lap traffic. So, in fact, the next few tracks aren't pleasant to lap traffic, including Lime Rock Park, Mid-Ohio. There's going to be a lot of action-packed races coming on up for us here, where passing could be a premium. Race car is going to be in this time by Riley and others have caught up to the tail end of the field. So going to be down in the pit road, leaving it in the hands of Will Parrish to take us back to the green flag and around through Murray's corner. Green flag back into the air from Bathurst. Simon Bullitt was given a huge break on the restart as two sport cars, Mitchell Collins and Sam Schluter, both worked their way through. Dennis Marshall and Chris Harvey both worked their way up and by the second place runner, Carter Joey. It's going to make it difficult for Joey to be able to catch up to challenge for the GT2 lead now. So that is horrible news. Meanwhile, Trey Smith starts to slowly but surely work his way further down the order in behind as we'll look back up to the fight for the third position. Mitchell O'Brien has caught up to Trey Smith. He's now going to try to hound down the trio of four GTs that lead the way at the moment. Looking for a move for second place here. Trey Smith sizing up. Stephen Colon going to be alongside. Fights on, drag for second place, down into the chase. It's going to get tight here. It's going to come down to a battle of the late breakers and potentially of who can get the better exit. That answer is going to go to Trey Smith, who will take the second position. And Mitchell O'Brien sees the opportunity, sweeps through for the third position, but maybe not. Here comes Cologne trying to battle back on the inside of Murray's corner, but it's going to be Mitchell O'Brien to hang the outside. Through he goes. Oh, Miles, meanwhile, dives down the inside of Eric Monaco into hell corner. So move Miles back up where he started in fifth. Trouble for Christian Bracken off at turn number one and trying to find a spot to rejoin. Will do so safely and gets back on to the racetrack without much fuss. Oh, just too deep on the brakes, and did find the wall. So that's going to hurt for Christian Bracken. That'll give him some pretty significant damage, I'd imagine. You can see all the bent up sheet metal over on the right front. A lot of work to do to fix that car up if it turns out something is majorly wrong with that machine. Once again, using all the speed under that Chevy Corvette C8R, and he's going to get by Will Parrish in the dive down in towards the chase. O'Brien back up to second place, 3.9 seconds up to Will Parrish, also in a Ford. He's about to get dicey up there to see who will be able to hang on for the race lead here. Carter Joey trying to stay in front of Casey Wells, a sport car. I think that V8 Supercar with the more superior top-end speed will be able to hang on, but Carter Joey's just trying to hang on because he's trying to fend off the likes of Casey Wells and go right behind him. It's not an easy time for these GT2 guys having to constantly struggle to work their way around the sport traffic, but they're doing their best to continue to fight it out amongst themselves at the very least, while Christian Bracken bails out and goes to pit road and takes damage. Here we go, passing Sport. Sam Schluter trying to go around the outside, and Mitchell Call is going to get risky again. Side by side to the cutting, doesn't typically work. But the 231 going to make it work. Mitchell Collins hangs on as Sam Schluter loses out to Carter Joey in the process. Boy, the pressure just keeps cooking as we run our way up and over the top of the mountain here. It's just nobody is able to really keep a straight lid on things right now as the aggression is flying left, right, front, and center here. Another battle in GT1 about to pick up. Owen Miles has to fend off Eric Monaco from behind. There goes Monaco looking to the right. Trying to make the dive into the chase. Not going to happen. Oh, Miles covering him off. Will stop that run in its tracks. Gets back by Carter Joey for overall position, but not for on-track position. Dylan Ebrahimian trying to fend off Smith, or trying to get around Smith Osman as well, a little bit deeper. So Osman to hold strong, pass for the lead. Meanwhile, over in your club class, look back on move that Connor Monaco just made on Matt Jones, and Declan White followed suit. It was a run down the Conrad straight, and Declan White simply followed suit and said, excuse me, pardon me, I want to take this move down into the chase here. Thank you very much. Here for the club class lead. It's the closest battle for a class lead we have so far on the racetrack. Declan White's won a class before back at Sebring. He wants to win another one here in Bathurst. Can't make the move though down the mountain straight into the quarry bend. I guess up the mountain straight I should say, since it's a constantly ascending slope. Into the cutting. Tuck in line and just hang tough now until you get around to Forest's Elbow and the Conrad straight on the other side of the mountain. Meanwhile, further up the field, Owen Miles and Eric Monaco just had a bit of a scrap down into the chase. This was Eric Monaco trying to get through on the inside. Owen Miles, though, slammed on the binders way later and was able to hang on for the position. So you got a four-way fight developing in GT1 as well. 5th, 6th, and 7th. And you got Simon Bloomfield behind in 8th place overall, trying to see if he can find a hole as well. Here's the move for the club guys down the Conrad straight now out of Forest's Elbow. It's actually going to be a move for second place as Matt Jones going to make the move on Declan White, and that's going to be 2 for 2 as Matt Jones screaming down the hill. What kind of speed was that? Around the outside, going to be the 393, and I think that's another one of those moves where you got to kind of see that to believe that. That was a legendary overtake. And look at the speed he gets down the hill, gets around Jones, and decides, you know what, now we're making the move for the race lead, and gets the run on Connor Monaco as well. He's hanging off the rev limiter down the Conrad straight there, but that much speed he got. Again, have to try to hold firm up the mountain straight, see if we'll get any further changes in position here. Answer to that, no dice. This is a good chunk of your sport and GT2 traffic mingling with one another as once again to be frustrating if you're a guy like Marcus Dawson right on board with now to be stuck behind all this V8 supercar traffic. You just want to get out of your way because you know you're faster than these guys. You can get around in the corners. It's just the straights where you struggle. But the corners are so narrow here, it's impossible to get through. You still got all these battles in GT want to get themselves sorted, as well as back down the hill is going to be tied in contact now in the fight for the lead as well in your club category, as Declan White is now up into the lead, getting around Connor Monaco and Matt Jones, but this time it was a bit of a messy overtake, it looked like, in the run down the stretch here. Let's look to the replay and we'll see this mad dash. There goes Declan White with the overspeed. Gets around Jones, goes for Monaco, and not quite contact, but pretty close to it. It's tight. It's very, very hairy at the moment. This battle here in the club class for the club class lead right now. That's going to stay where it's at for some time, I'd imagine. These guys are not going to break away from each other until the pit stop window. In fact, trying for the outside there was Connor Monaco. Not going to happen. Jones snakes up the inside, and now Caleb Reynolds wants to go around the outside into the cutting. That's not going to happen, though. It has to tuck back in line for fourth. And just in time as well as there's old Miles, Eric Monaco again, side by side. This time Colin Cropley in the NVIDIA graphics machine, going to look to the inside as well. Miles breaks clear, and now Eric Monaco has to lose 2 spots. As Colin Cropley starts to work his way back up the order into the points. Probably trying for the outside, no room. Let Eric Monaco shoot back to the inside line. And again, fights on for the lead. Matt Jones gets around Declan White. As well as that, got this Vited Sport developing as well. Up the hill, Mitchell Collins trying to fend off Casey Wells. Oh, here comes Casey Wells looking to the inside of Carter Joey. Carter Joey getting inside Casey Wells. So the GT2 traffic starting to fight back. They're done waiting. They want to get through and work their way back up into this thing. There was an attempt to go around the outside down into Corey Bend, but there was just no room, no way that was going to end up working out. And as well as that, yeah, Matt Jones making this move on Declan White down the straightaway, gets the overspeed down out of Forrest Elbow, makes the move under the Fuso Bridge. And now Caleb Reynolds has gotten by Declan White, has continued to drop, so Reynolds now goes up to 3rd place in the club category. Joey's going to lose that again to Casey Wells down the Conrad straight. Not for lack of trying, though. He's not about to give this one up for very long. Carlo probably looks down the inside, trying to get back around Simon Blue, so he can continue the battle with this GT1 traffic up the road. Force elbow is your club battle now. Four cars strong now in the fight for the club class lead. Already the 369 looking for the inside, has a lot of speed. Gonna get around Matt Jones easily. Declan White gets around Caleb Reynolds as well in the background. So another change of hand for the club class lead down the hill into the chase. See the big spread so far throughout this field, and it is a hefty one between first and 10th place at the moment out there on the racetrack. You also see the race leaders starting to steadily catch up to some of the club class traffic as well, so they are not too far off from having to work around the lap cars. I almost can't wait for the pit window to come around soon enough for this rookie year to get themselves sorted. We're going to start seeing these guys be able to fight out with the proper can. I'm going to swap each other so much over track position. Waiting game for a lot of the bigger classes up the road, right? I mean, you've gotten this fight in GT1 that is starting to dissipate somewhat as the time goes along. This is, again, Owen Miles. He's broken clear of Eric Monaco now for the top 5, and he is now pulled well clear of the rest of this field in your GT1 field. Dylan Ebrahimian, though, oh, he's making a move up the inside of Cement Oskin. And Oz going to fight back down into the chase, hops up on the curb, and Ebrahimian going to hang on. So Dylan Ebrahimian is making a trade in hands. That was 18th place overall and about 6th place in the sport field. You can see a lot of your other sport traffic still holding up. A lot of the GT2 guys with no way on finding their way to get through. Schluter and Collins going to keep strong with one another, and again, runs down the straightaway. Here comes Declan White making the charge, going for the race lead to get around the 369. Almost slamming into the door, hard on the binders. Connor Monaco just barely hangs on. Declan White, though, will breeze around Matt Jones and Caleb Reynolds. Gonna have to wait just that a little bit longer before he can try to find a move of his own. White can actually lose a couple of places here, so it looks like problems have befallen Declan White or something is causing a fault with someone in pace. We'll get a look on what the heck just happened here up. We'll try to get a better view than that, obviously, but it was a move from Declan White, or sorry, by 353, Matt Jones making a move on Declan White. That forced White wide, and Caleb Reynolds poking through in the 378 as well, so another trade in hands there in your club category. Well, Simon Bloomfield, the GT2 class leader, working up and by the GT1. 7th place driver of Eric Monaco. So Simon Bloomfield showing that he still has the pace of some of your GT1 drivers up the road, and that pace has not faltered so far throughout the season, there's a reason why he leads the standings with 22 points over Marcus Dawson's 20. Had a bit of a bad start admittedly to the season, but he's been able to bounce back since then and make a great recovery drive. Oh, here's a move for GT2 down in the field. Marcus Dawson trying to get around Carter Joey, sweeping to the inside of the cutting and out through Griffin's Mount up to Reed Park. Oh, into the wall! Marcus Dawson gets into the wall in a big way, shoved in there by Carter Joe. It's going to give him some right side damage for sure. How bad is that going to be, though, is the big question. You can kind of see some of the damage there. If you look up to Joshua Johnson, you really see the left front fender poking out of the 154. Getting a bit hot and heavy here in the battles then as time continues to slowly slip away. We're closing out that halfway point when we're expecting for some of our pit cycles to get ourselves sorted up. Christian Bracken, after his earlier incident, is back out onto the racetrack, and he is now starting to slowly pick his way through the glove glass field for overall track position. Pass for overall track position there. That was Aaron Monte getting back by Simon Bloomfield. So for track position, not for class position. No change in the classes that, or the position that distribute the points at the moment. This trio of Corvettes, a solid job of just trying to maintain the gap of where things are at, and everybody trying to get themselves, I think, settled into a pace here for the long run, but it's going to be, I think, that challenge, right? Trying to see if you can sort yourself out for some long run pace. And I don't think a lot of guys are focused on that old two button. If you're in your GT2 class here, you're just trying to see if you can make up some more positions. Some of the other guys in your class are trying to pull away, especially the likes of Carter Jones now trapped in the middle here of a big gaggle of cars. Heck, even the club guys haven't been all that close now as of late. Matt Jones trying to look for the for a long way around into Murray's corner, but the 360's not going to hold tough, and I think that has to do with your race leaders now starting to file their way through. As I say that, Declan White taking advantage of Trey Smith. He'll look to the inside into held corner to go for second place. Declan White gets by Matt Jones for the second position in club. The leaders now embroiled in lap traffic. As Christian Reynolds again still trying to pick his way through as well. Oh, and trouble for Caleb Reynolds, who's going to come to a stop on the race course. So Caleb Reynolds having a big issue in the 378 car. Off the racing line, so we'll see if that's going to force a safety car. Don't think it will. Oh, shoved into the wall by the 353 of Matt Jones, and that's what's going to force Reynolds to an abrupt stop. That was into the cutting, and that's why they often say going side by side up into the cutting, not the wisest of ideas. We'll keep this race green. No safety car being thrown, and now this train of cars, all your GT1 battles here trying to get themselves sorted around some of the club traffic that's down in the back end. Have to wait, though, all the way around until Forest Elbow. Now they can get the hammer down and power by them on the Conrad straight. And open up the door for Miles. Going to look by to get through on Colin Cropley. Drag race down the hill in towards the chase. And Miles trying to hang on, but Cropley fighting back in the braking zone, but not going to be able to hang on. Owen Miles is through, while Christian Bracken makes another trip down into pit road. This three-way fight between the Corvettes is going to continue to pick up until the last little while. We'll check out some of your class leaders. How about sounds a little bit we already know is tagging on to the back end of this fight here. Connor Monaco is kind of broken away. Well, kind of half broken away in your club class. We'll keep tabs on that one for sure. Dennis Marshall, he's still leading the way by a healthy margin, by about 12 seconds in your sport category at the moment as he's running his way up the hill. Will Parrish, though, as I think a little bit of a bigger story at the moment, he's leading the way by still about 6 seconds over the likes of Mitchell O'Brien. And so far, O'Brien has not really been able to catch him on that much. You can really tell here, O'Brien gains about a second here, but he'll lose a second about a few laps later. It's trading back and forth so much. I mean, there is Mitchell O'Brien right at the tail end of the field. And he's just not really been able to close in the gap enough to make that much of a difference. He's been hanging around about 6 seconds for the last 12 laps or so, ever since that restart. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe Mitchell O'Brien is used up what's been spent. He's going to have to hope for some luck to fall his way with the lap traffic. He wants to close up to overtake Will Parrish, I'd imagine, for the overall race lead and lead of 1. Drivers starting to close on up, and Marcus Dawson has had troubles. Dawson, you can see, with some major damage on the 195 as he's rolling his way down the hill. Checking out what happened to Marcus Dawson here. We'll have to back this up a bit to really kind of get the full story here. This is coming up over Rivers Mount into Reed Park here. This is Reed Park right now. They were lapping some club traffic. I wonder if it had anything to do with that. Just went through Solman and making our way down to McPhillamy. And no, it would have been that. Yeah, I think that was it. Made a bit of bad contact, and that's what's kind of upset the balance on that car, and he's going to have to run down pit road to get that fixed. Meanwhile, Declan White being overtaken by Matt Jones, then passed back. That was all the way up in the glory bin to fight for second place in the club category. And sure enough, Dawson will make the trip down to pit road. You've still got Connor Monaco, Declan White, Matt Jones still embroiled in their three-way fight for the club class lead. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. 19 laps to go on the docket today. Here comes the look for second place. Matt Jones going to make that move, and can he go for the double and get around Connor Monaco for the class lead? We've already seen this several times today. Going to try for the effort, not enough time. Monaco shuts the door, and Matt Jones has to settle for second place for the time being. He'll be able to pick himself up, though, and charge after the 369. Potentially the next lap here. We're past halfway. So now is a good time as any to make that trip down to pit road as well, especially if you're some of the guys caught back in some irritating traffic, so to say. hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to pretty much the entire GT2 field. Shane Caleb Reynolds fell apart in all of this. I mean, Caleb Reynolds was a big part of this four-way fight and was trying to make moves, but he could never just make his way up to the overall lead of this race, and that's kind of seen us fall back to where we're at the moment. As you can see, the 237 work his way by. I believe that to be Dennis Marshall, sport class leader, lapping their club class leaders. They're kind of showing how far apart everything is kind of separated for the time being. Haven't touched in all that much on Colin Cropley, who continues to try to close on up to the back end of Owen Miles in the fight for 5th place overall and in GT1. Runs right up to the gearbox there of the 25 car right in front of him. Down out of the Conrad straight and into the chase, but again, he hasn't been able to get close enough for some time to be able to realistically make a move. Simon Bloomfield, the first driver to make an actual scheduled pit stop. He is coming into pit row this time by. I expect they'll be taking some good guys with them. Oh, here comes Dennis Marshall. So Marshall is into the pit lanes. The sport class leader is also down in the end. We'll see where Chris Harvey stands. Harvey's coming in. All right, pit road's about to get busy, just past halfway. And in fact, a good chunk of guys are all going to be in. Your GT2 guys, though, staying out. They want to try to see if they can gap these guys for the pit stops. Smart play for Joey, Johnson, and Mills to all stay out another lap here while the sport guys are forced to come in early. They're not the only ones, as Mitchell O'Brien is now going to make a trip down to the lane as well. So even some of your GT1 traffic started to go in. I think O'Brien going to see if he can go for the undercut here, get some fresh rubber potentially on his Goodwrench Services Corvette and get out at least closer to Will Parrish. Trey Smith follows suit. He'll be down to the pit road, and he is number 2 for GTE. There's Jose Mills and Joshua Johnson running nose-tail. They all elected to stay out along with Carter Joe to see if they could get an extra lap by, or it's not get an extra lap, but try to see if they can gap the sport drivers by staying out about another lap or two and using their corner speed to their advantage. All of your GT1 field is in, though. So once again, busy on pit road. There's your trio of Corvettes down at the back of the end of the field. The marker of everybody that has yet to make a stop so far throughout this race. There goes the 7 car. Stephen Cologne off and away. Waiting here to see what the play is going to be for some of these guys further down the order. Here comes the GT2 drivers. Now they're going to make their trip down into the lane. Now the question is, where are they going to be coming on out in comparison to your sport guys that they just tried to lap? There they are coming on down into Forest Elbow now. enough time so they can get out in front of your leaders here. And Will Parrish into pit road as well, right behind these guys. Now this is going to be crucial here. Parrish has got to try to stay out in front of O'Brien here. We'll see if we can get those drivers up on the map. There you can see on the track map, bottom right of the screen, Mitchell O'Brien up at the top of the hill, making his way down in towards the Conrad Straight. Will Parrish still in the box. Here comes your GT2 drivers that are going to be off and away. And they have been able to successfully gap the sport traffic they were stuck behind for so long. Now they can finally battle it out amongst themselves. Again, Parrish has to sit and wait patiently. Where is Mitchell O'Brien? Coming around through the chase. O'Brien, I don't think will be able to reel in a 6 seconds, but he can get pretty close to it and at least try to see if he can close the gap further, especially with the outlap. Off of pit road and away is Will Parrish, and I think the gap's actually extended. It has. Now it's up to 10 seconds, so that has not worked at all for Mitchell O'Brien. That has backfired horribly for Mitchell O'Brien, who's now got even more time to make up. And then you got all your club traffic. Still has yet to pit themselves. We're not going to see them pit for a little while yet. They usually don't pit on the regular basis until the very end. Matt Jones will get around Connor Monaco to lead the way in the club class, taking soon and following some of the GT1 cars that just fought their way through. To somewhat break up the GT1 fight that we'd seen there with the Corvette trio. Owen Miles and Colin Cropton remain nose to tail, but Eric Monaco falling back a big bunch because of being caught up with all of this club traffic. They just can't get around. He'll try to make it. There he goes. Gets around the outside of the cutting into Griffin's Mount. Most battles sorted in the field, that really just kind of leaves some of the smaller scale fight that we see, like this fight for the club class lead, which will rage on as we continue to wait for these guys to make their trip, their mandatory trip down into pit road. We'll lock up that time by with 369 of Connor Monaco. I'd expect to see at least one position, if not two, down the Conrad Straight. Already looking to the right. Here comes Connor Monaco. Gets the run on Declan White. Makes the move with Declan White. Monaco's up to second. Can he go for the double? Get around Matt Jones. Gonna make an effort for it. Side by side. Smoke flying into the chase. And they bang doors for second as Declan White tries to make a lunge around the outside. And that will lose Matt Jones 2 positions. Declan White's up to second. Put Connor Monaco into the lead as they all hit pit road. What a way to end off that bit of a bout. Let's jump back to get an eye on this move down into the chase, and boy, did they ever come close, banging doors into the braking zone. Quentin Riley will inherit the race lead, but it will be temporary as Riley himself is yet to pit. And how about that? Caleb Reynolds going to leave pit road right in the thick of this after being out of the fight for the last 4 laps due to damage. So Something tells me this is going to separate the battle for the club class lead for the foreseeable future here, unless something big manages to happen to bring Declan White back in with the rest of these guys. Well, now it's Connor Monaco they got to be worried about up the road, and yeah, nothing's about to stop Connor Monaco from being hightailing off with this potential race lead. Here's the sport guys, your GT2 drivers stuck behind. Now they can feel free to fight amongst themselves. Sam Schluter and Casey Wells and John Collins. 14th, 15th, and 16th place overall. Second place fight in sport. As we continue to work our way around the Mount Panorama circuit with 14 laps to go. Well, once again, let's take in the sights and sound of the Trans Am Cup as we continue to work our way into the closing stages of your program tonight.
coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Paloma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For Audie's win here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
Welcome back to Mount Panorama, where we've got less than 10 laps left to go, and it's been a fierce fight for a lot of drivers so far throughout this field, but more so in the fight for the 15th overall position in your race tonight. We'll keep eyes on this one for the moment as we run down the Conrad Straight. This is again the Corvette trio got themselves formed back up. Low miles, Colin Cropley, Eric Monaco still showing no signs of yielding anytime soon in this fight. Meanwhile, Mitchell Collins has been on the move. We'll take a look at this one first. This was a lap prior, and this was then Casey Wells getting down into Forest Elbow down the Conrad Straight. This was the fight with Mitchell Collins, 15th place overall. Second place-ish in your, third place in your sport category. They do battle it side by side all the way down Forest Elbow. Or it was Mitchell Collins to win out in the run down in towards the chase, and there's nothing that Case Wells could do about it from there. A bit further then down the line, this was Mitchell Collins trying to make a move on Sam Schluter this time around. Getting on the binders up and wide, and Casey Wells said, "How do you do? Let me take a spot away from you as well." So some slight changes in hands, but more so it's been more of the same so far from Mount Panorama as we're getting set to close things out here tonight with what looks like maybe a quiet end for a lot of battles so far over the racetrack that have since fallen to the wayside. We take a look at what's coming on next. Next time we're out for the Trans Am Championship, it'll be for the WeatherTech Raceway. We mentioned this before in the Stock Challenge, and we'll mention it again here tonight. It's going to be a rough time for a lot of these guys regarding lap traffic and passing in general at a track like Laguna Seca. You never quite know how racing that's going to go. I suspect we'll be having a couple of races there. Just through encounter the corkscrew low. Colin Cropley taking the move on Owen Miles down the hill into the chase, and he gets pinched off right at the apex, and Owen Miles hangs on, but not in a way that I'm sure Cropley will be terribly pleased about. He'll try to be paid a favor if he can ever get back up and work his way around him later on. Oh, and in fact, Cropley gets through on Miles immediately, so something goes awry for Miles. He's about to lose another spot in the hell corner. Monaco tried to look for an opportunistic lunge up the inside. What the heck happened? Oh, he's gone deep. Locked up in a Murray's corner, and Colin Cropley saw the advantage and just took it. This is at the moment one of the last battles you've got on the racetrack. Looking a bit further down the order, you got this one between Carter and Joey. Oh, hello, Joshua Johnson off the track at the chase. He'll rejoin and off on the other side and trying to hang on to it. I think we'll get himself sorted there. So Joshua Johnson willing to bet too deep. Yep, too deep on the brakes. It's a mistake to make. Pops across the grass first on one side, then the other, going even without hitting anything. So, bit of a wild moment there. But you got Dennis Marshall and Carter Joey mentioned before, not for on-track position though, so it's not really a battle you can necessarily count, so to speak. And then this is the only other battle. You got the Corvette trio and the Supercar trio. Collins, Wells, Schluter all nose to tail as well. By 14th overall, and oh, hello, had a move into Forrest elbow. Miles has lost another spot. Eric Monica making the move and now held up behind club traffic. Once again, about to get hairy. A bit deeper in the field. No move made into the chase. We'll look at the past six. It's a risky place to do it, but hey, I mean, if the guy gets held up, as good a place as any as Eric Monaco swept through and took that one, made that look easy around the outside. A little bit, see whichever battle happens to be picking on up the most, but it's tough sometimes to kind of figure out what might bring about some excitement next. I think it's all up in the GT1 category still, though. That's kind of where these guys are going to struggle to work their way around a lot of lap traffic right now for the last little while. And up to the point where it's allowed the GT2 class leader Simon Bloomfield to once again close into the ground to make a position. Clear of all that lap traffic. There's a point where you wanted to make a move for position. Now, again, is the time to do it before you catch up to Declan White up the road. And Eric Monaco echoes my sentiments. He'll look to the inside. It's going to be a risky move. Trying to get up alongside Colin Cropley. He's holding firm. Side by side to the braking zone. Oh, too deep! And Eric Monaco off the course, cutting across the grass. He'll have to rejoin and lose 3 positions as a result. Almost a disaster for Eric Monaco because he just went shooting off the road on the wrong side of the track. We'll look at the pass all the way from when he made the pass. Oh yeah, at least 30 meters too deep, and lucky not to hit anyone or anything as he rejoined the racing circuit. Oh, meanwhile, Miles is off, and Miles is in the wall. Miles is in the wall, and that looks like it'll be a safety car late. He's off the course, no break in the wall to get the car behind. So the in-house rules dictate if the car can be reasonably pushed behind a brake that's nearby in the wall, bring out the safety car. With only 5 laps to go, we're looking at about a 3 or 2 lap dash here. So Owen Miles having a big off. He got into the grass and just went straight on into the wall. Nothing he could do. Yeah, once you clip that grass, you're done. You are not going anywhere anytime fast. Tried to look for the outsider and call it problem, but clipped the grass on entry, and that's what sent him wide. And just, I think, a bit aggressive there, and a bit over-opportunistic to try to find a way through. So we're going to hang on here for a little while, and we'll see if anybody's going to make a trip down to pit road late. But I think that is a big, big game changer for a lot of drivers now throughout this field, as everybody's going to have to try to scramble to catch up. We're definitely going to go through some field reorganizing, so to speak. Get everybody in line to where they're supposed to be. Hoo boy. This race just got kicked up into high gear. And I think everybody kind of realizes what this means. It is about to be go time. It's going to be a question of if we're even going to be able to go back green flag racing here. Got 5 laps to go. That should be enough to be able to get the field sorted. And we could be able to get this thing back underway, but I'm not quite sure. It's going to be really, really tight. Could be even down to a 1-lap sprint by the end, but we'll have to see. Be a shame to end this race under the yellow flag, but if you can't get the field organized in time, what are you going to do, right? Good chunk of the field will be able to catch up by the time they reach pit road. I'd be surprised if we didn't see at least one driver making a trip down. So we'll be able to see the last guys exit, of course, elbow in their bid to try to scramble and catch up the tail end of the racing block. So crunch time. Who's going to make the trip down to the lane? Nobody so far. Looks like maybe somebody in your club class might be thinking about it. Yep, the 330. Bailing out. Axel Benoit. Suspension damage fixed under the caution period. Caleb Reynolds also in. Looks like everybody else, though, going to stay out for the meanwhile. So we'll take a step back just to let the field get itself reorganized, and we'll be back with the restart, hopefully, in a few moments. And we return to Mount Panorama Bathurst. The field has been sorted and the safety car has been determined. We will be in this time by, but we will be getting things reset for a 2-lap dash. Now, big news in your sport category. It's looking as though Dennis Marsh will get himself an easy win. He was the one driver in the sport category on the lead lap. Everybody else behind him had to fall back to tuck in lines. These guys back here, they are going to be really, really struggling. Marshall is a lap ahead of them with a guaranteed win pretty much in the sport category. Well, Parrish, meanwhile, going to be leading the way in the GT1 category. Bluefield leads GT2 and Connor Monaco in the club class. You'll notice everybody's been resorted into their respective classes. This is to try and ensure you shouldn't have any problems in the running order. Towards the end, it'll be everybody in their classes just able to battle it out amongst themselves as hard as they please. Miles will leave pit road and rejoin the tail end of the safety car line. While everybody else in behind gets set to duke it out for these last few laps. So hedge your bets. Can Mitchell O'Brien catch up and overtake Will Parrish by the end? And we'll see who will be able to come out on top of this by the end. Will Parrish will lead the way. Mitchell O'Brien will be back in second. Trey Smith will be trying to see if he can pick anything up from third. Parrish have been pulling away from O'Brien the last few laps prior to the safety car period coming out. So it'll really be down to see if he can have the pace on the restart to see if he can close in that gap. Pace cars into pit road. Will Parrish? The race leaders were going to take it back to the green flag with 2 to go. No moves being made so far in the bid for the GT1 race lead as we rocket our way up the hill. A lot of side-by-side battles among interclass traffic. Deeper in the field of the sport guys try to fight it out with the GT2 traffic on the restart laps here. Very reminiscent of what we saw over on the open lap of this race. Also got the club battle to worry about. Who's going to come on top of this one? Noah Miles trying to pick his way through, and maybe Declan White can still go through and steal a win from Connor Monaco. For now, though, all eyes on the GT1 leaders as O'Brien is right there on the back gearbox of Will Parrish's Ford GTE. On to the Conrad straight. Quarter of a second in closing. That Corvette all season long has had so much top-end speed. And this is the perfect place to use it. No look to the inside. He'll stay in line as we get set to take the last lap. Mitchell O'Brien has one more lap to get himself sorted for a race win. Final lap in the air, race is official, and Dennis Marshall's in a pit road. Dennis Marshall forced to take a trip to pit road. Don't know if it's for damage or what, but something has gone horribly awry for Marshall. Will this result in him losing out on his own race lead to Chris Harvey, who's a lap down from him? We'll wait and see on that one as we hightail it up the hill. Connor Monaco in club class. This is the only other battle that's really up for grabs, along with GT2. We'll look back to see if Declan White can overtake him with a run up the mountain straight towards the Quarry Bend. Do not believe he's going to be able to get there. He still has the whole way around. While O'Brien for GT1 continues to go on the offensive. Trying to apply that pressure on the last lap of a 39-lap tour from New South Wales and Bathurst, Australia. Dennis Marshall still sitting in pit road. It's a long stop. But we take it to the pit straightaway. 0.3 of a second. Does O'Brien have enough space? Down to a quarter. Parrish has got some top end speed underneath that car as well. A longer run setup. Looks like might give him the edge as O'Brien cannot close by the time they reach the braking zone. And Simon Bloomfield cannot, he'll fend off the likes of Carter Joey back behind. Parrish goes defensive into Murray's corner, and that's gonna be enough. Will Parrish will hang on, and he will take victory at Mount Panorama. Behind, Simon Bloomfield fends off Carter Joey to win in GT2. While down to the chase, Declan White couldn't catch Matt Jones. And thus it'll be a hard run. Connor Monaco has to go defensive for one more corner to Murray's. And White also cannot get there. And that will leave Monaco to hang on for the club class. That just leaves Dennis Marshall as the last driver. Not sure what would have happened. Possibly a penalty on the restart for passing. It's an easy thing to do on these cars that have the acceleration they got. It's not going to matter, though, as he's going to be the last driver on the lead lap, and the only driver at this point that we're waiting on to put this race into the books. But what a ride we had right at the end. Will Parrish had to fight hard to keep Mitchell O'Brien at bay. O'Brien messed up a little bit in Forrest's elbow. And that gave Parrish just enough time to be able to fend him off all the way down to the checkered flag out of Murray's corner from the Conrod Straight, of which now Dennis Marshall traverses for his last time. Now he just has one more corner to go as well, and Marshall will finally make it official and take the W over in your sport category. So with all drivers across the line, we'll take a rundown of your official post-race results from Mount Panorama, the Trans Am Cup. It's Will Parrish to win it out over in GT1 with O'Brien in second. Smith brings up the podium. Stephen Colby in fourth, there Monaco in fifth. We got Colin Cropley in sixth place, and Owen Miles brings up the rear in seventh to round out GT1. 7th place overall, first in GT2, it's Simon Bloomfield to best Carter Joey, with the likes then of Jose Mills in 3rd, Josh Johnson in 4th, Patrick Smith 5th, Christian Bracken back there in that 6th position, with the likes of Marcus Dawson finishing his race out over in the 7th position. Moving on down through the field then, you've got the likes of Dennis Marshall to win it out. Last driver of the late lap, 10th place overall. He'll take the win in your sport category, with Chris Harvey in 2nd, Wells 3rd, Schluter 4th, Collins in 5th, Dylan Hippiam in 6th, and Samantha Oskin, rounds out the 7th place. That leaves just the club guys, where Connor Monaco fends off Declan White and Quinn Riley for the win. Matt Jones brings up 4th, with Veronica Ryan, Axel Boy, and Caleb Reynolds to bring up the rear. What a race we had here tonight. It's all the time we got for one day, and want to once again thank you all for taking the time to join us on Green Flag TV. My name is Noel Rempel, and what a show we had here today. We'll be back with more hopefully soon for the race number 5 of the Wednesday Race at Laguna Seca. For now, though, that's all we got for not just the Trans Am Championship, but also for 2022. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Happy holidays and a happy new year. We'll see you all and start it off strong in 23.